What's up, y'all? Welcome to Original Gamers Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Ryan, and today I'm joined, as always, by Joel Watt.
Hello, friends.
And we're expecting a third person, Nolan. I don't know where he is, but we got to fill in, and we also don't know where the fill-in is. So hopefully one or even both of them will join us before the episode is over. This week we are going to be talking about Mario Kart 64. But before we get into that, how you been doing, Joel?
Pretty good. I finally took the plunge and bought some new computer parts. So I'm starting a new build.
Nice.
Yeah. I kind of went out on a limb and decided to apply for a credit card with Newegg so I could buy more than I have currently in my account. so I went into debt for this thing for the first time in my life. And, I don't know.
Hey, first time you made it this far, so
yeah, I know. With 33 years plus without ever going into debt.
Right.
Well, that's not technically true. I had a Kohl's card, but there was like $20 on it, and I paid it off right away.
Okay.
I don't know if that actually counts, but what else have I been doing? I talked about the Max last week, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The
okay.
Max. The Mac Daddy. Mac Mini.
4 iMacs and a MacBook Pro.
Yeah, so this PC you're building, this is because of that camera that you bought that needs an Intel processor?
Kind of.
Okay.
I mean, I've been wanting a new computer for at least 2 years now. For almost 2 years now, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Since I started my current job. Like, I need a computer. And I was like, wait, I really need a car. I should save up for that. So now that I have a car and finances are more stabilized again, I was like, okay, time for a computer.
Right.
Plus, the camera is like incentive. I see that green and black box sitting there doing nothing, and I'm like, ah!
And that's the camera that will cut you out of the picture without needing a green screen or anything like that? Okay.
Yes.
It's like a little Kinect for your PC, but not a Kinect.
But not a Kinect, because it's not a piece of crap. Not made by Microsoft.
Oh, Microsoft shots fired.
Right, Microsoft does software really well, usually.
They do.
They don't do hardware all that great.
I think they're getting better about that.
How high was the failure rate on the Xbox 360? The first run?
Oh, for a while it was pretty ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah. Something like 60%.
Kind of like the failure rate for marriages in America.
Let's not get political. Anyway, yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing that's going on right now. Yeah, I talked about the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo last week.
Yes, and the Retro Nerds.
Thank you. It's not called Retro Nerds. I'm going to start calling all the things you go to nerd cons then.
Okay.
No. So yeah, I think it's just the computer is going on, and trying to play video games more.
When you're finished with the computer, you'll have to tell us what you put in it. Or have you already figured out what you're putting in it?
I've already got my design down. So what I have on hand is a GTX 1070.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't get the 1080. I couldn't justify $1,000 for a graphics card.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And what else? I got my RAM in. It's 32 gigs of DDR4. DDR4 3000. So it's like 2 steps above the lowest bus speed or something like that. But like the highest bus speed is prohibitively expensive. So
yeah,
not
right. We're not rendering Pixar movies here.
I just want something that's not crap, but is not like yeah, something I can afford.
Yeah.
I need to close my Facebook tab. There we go. I got a 250 gigabyte SSD. Because I opted for a 6-core processor instead of a 4-core. I don't have that in, but that's on the list. So I had to downgrade my hard drive today. I wanted a half terabyte, but decided to go with a quarter.
Yeah.
Because I already have a 3 terabyte storage drive, like internal storage, like, and I could reformat. Well, my mom kind of wants my old. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, I have a terabyte hard drive. I can grab at work, and format that, use that for extra storage if I really need it.
So you've got an Intel. What Intel chip did you
The
get?
Intel i7 something. Now
Okay.
you're gonna make me log in to the page where I buy things. But yeah, it's Intel i7 6-core, 3.6 gig processor, as far as I remember. Oh my gosh, I can't talk and type at the same time.
I'm the same way. I can't do that.
I'm amazed that I can even sometimes play video games and talk at the same time. But
that's why I'm a terrible Twitch streamer.
Not the right password. I did Let's Play 3 years, so I shouldn't say years. I did like 5 Let's Plays. i7 6850K. The Broadwell E, for those of you who actually care.
I was say, I'm sure to someone listening that means something. Beyond i7, I'm like, okay, I don't know what anything else is gonna mean, but
yeah, the LJ 2011 V3 socket. So when I opted for the 6-core processor, I had to change my motherboard also, and because I think I had a 4-core processor, but it had a different socket. So it's like, I needed another motherboard now, and so I think I found it was comparable in price and features. And
right.
Yeah, so I still have about $1,100 to $1,200 to spend, and I've got parts in. Oh, so I got the case in. I got the case essentially for free. I don't know why I got a $60 discount when I bought things. Like what it says I got a discount for doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand. It's like one of those techno babble jargon things, like the websites. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
They gave me my case for free. I just had to pay tax. And it's
cool.
gigantic. Like, it's way bigger than I was expecting it to be.
Right.
Got a new caller. Hello, yes. Welcome to the show.
I think Jimmy Bones is joining us. What's up, Jimmy?
Not a whole lot.
Oh,
not a whole lot.
I can barely hear you.
It's because I'm not talking all that loud at the moment.
Right.
Okay.
He's usually very quiet. Well, okay.
When I have somebody sleeping behind me, yeah.
Say when I say quiet, I mean quiet in volume. He's not quiet when it comes to the conversation. He will do plenty of talking. And that's a good thing because this is a podcast. There's nothing to look at unless you're watching this on YouTube, and then there's that Twitch banner that I made.
Static image.
Just slap out there. Yep. What you been up to, Jimmy? We're just going through. We're doing a little chit chat segment of the show. So, what's been going on?
Well, at the moment, I'm driving through the middle of nowhere.
That sounds like fun.
I believe I'm in Idaho at the moment.
Idaho. That's where they grow potatoes. That's what I know about that place.
It's also where they make Dasani yogurt. Not Dasani. Chobani. That's it.
I was about to say Dasani. That's water, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very watery yogurt. For those of you who do not listen to the Join the Rivalry podcast, first of all, shame on you. You should. Second of all, this Jimmy is one of my co-hosts over on that podcast. And this podcast and the CrossForge Gaming podcast are all under crossforgegaming.com. So you should give those other podcasts a listen. They're fun and very entertaining. And Jimmy drives a truck in his spare time. It's not true. But yeah.
It's paid time.
Yeah. So, well, cool. Yeah, so I have been playing Twilight Princess HD for Wii U. I'm getting real stoked about. I just said stoked. I'm getting real excited about Breath of the Wild.
You can say stoked. It's cool.
Coming out for the Switch. And speaking of that, while I'm thinking of it, I kind of go back and forth. I had like the day that Amazon started taking pre-orders for the Wii U version of that, which was probably 2.5, 3 years ago, I put in a pre-order for it, and I go back and forth on whether or not I should still go ahead and keep getting that one and just keep it in the shrink wrap, because that's probably going to be hard to find one of these days, and maybe it'll be worth something. Or maybe if I get it, I'm just shoveling $60 down the toilet. Who knows? But I'm getting real excited to be playing that on the Switch. And yeah, I'm going to be spending a lot of money on March 3rd because there's the Switch, there's Breath of the Wild. I want to get Snipper Clips and I Am Setsuna and Bomberman R. I think I figured out that I want every game that's coming out on launch except for 3, which is Just Dance 3, Binding of Isaac, and I don't remember what the third one was. And I can't remember.
Binding of Isaac on the Switch?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really dark for Nintendo.
It sure is.
Well, it's on 3DS, I think.
That sounds about right. And I want to say that was a game that they wanted to bring, or no, I'm thinking, because it's the same people that did Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, Niantic.
I'm getting that story confused with Super Meat Boy. They wanted to put Super Meat Boy on the Wii, and the Wii had a limit on how big downloadable games could be, and Super Meat Boy was too big, even in standard definition, so they couldn't bring it over to the Wii. But yeah, that's coming out, and like I said, I can't remember what the third game is, and I also can't remember if I'm not getting it because I'm just not interested in it or because I have it on something else. But it's probably not the latter, because I'm getting World of Goo and Little Inferno, and I have both of those for multiple things. So I just really like both of those games.
I've never played World of Goo, but it looks fun.
It's a lot of fun if you're into that kind of thing. I'm also curious to know, like, and yeah, I realized Nintendo probably put the touchscreen in the Switch because it was just cheaper to do that than a not touchscreen, because touchscreens are so prevalent these days. But they don't talk about whether or not the touchscreen is going to be able to be used for anything in playing games other than menu selection. Actually, I don't even know if they've confirmed that you can do that. So
yeah,
I think that might be up to the developers of the individual games. Yeah,
I would think so, because World of Goo I have for Wii, but I also have for my Android smartphone, and while it's better on the Wii simply because my finger is not covering up any of the screen, it's pretty good on the smartphone. So I would think that they would want to be able to have the touch controls enabled for it, but who knows? I guess I'll find out on March 3rd when I get it. All right, let's talk some Mario Kart. So let me pull up the notes here. Mario Kart 64 is developed by Nintendo EAD. Can't remember what that stands for. I should. We read it often enough.
It's like Entertainment Analysis Division or something like that. Or development, maybe? Oh, gosh. Entertainment and Analysis. What does it stand for? Entertainment and Analysis Development. Okay, so the second one was right.
Some very corporate sounding name instead of
Nintendo does not have creative names for their departments,
which is very weird since they have very creative games. Although I can't say that they're very creative with naming their games ARMS. which looks fun. It's just like
Mario Party 28.
yeah, you didn't spend a whole lot of time thinking of that one. The director of this game is Hideki. It's either Kono or Kano. There's two N's in it.
We've talked
And
about him before.
I feel like we probably. Well, did he direct the original Mario Kart? Because we've done that game on the show.
Probably, yeah. Because I remember you trying to pronounce his name before. Like, is it Kano or Kono? I don't know.
We've had this.
How many N's are in it?
Yeah.
Yep. And then produced by Shigeru Miyamoto and composed by Kenta Nagata. So not Koji Kondo. Actually, now I want to know, did Kenta Nagata do the original Mario Kart? Because I can't remember. Let's find out. Composer, no. Some guy named Soya Oka composed Super Mario Kart. Still not Koji Kondo.
Yeah, he did some work on Double Dash, Super Mario 64 DS. Double Dash is amazing.
Yeah, I love that game.
Yeah, Super Mario 64 DS, Mario Brothers Wii, Mario Kart 7, New Super Mario Brothers 2 on the 3DS, and Mario Kart 8. So he's done a smattering of Nintendo games.
I think Mario Kart 8 is probably my favorite soundtrack in the series.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yep, and platforms. This was released on the Nintendo 64 in Japan on December 14th, 1996. North America, February 10th, 1997. European territories in June 24th, 1997. It was released for the IQ player in China, November 17th, 2003. What's the IQ player, Joel?
It was this joint venture between a Chinese hardware manufacturer and Nintendo to have the N64 officially in China, because sometimes China is really weird with importing things. Like, they don't like to do that. So Nintendo was like, well, we'll work with you to make something in China.
Well,
and
here's the thing about that, actually. China, they have a set of business laws which require the Chinese government to have ownership in any company that is actually doing anything in China.
yeah,
Which is why you have a lot of these knockoff cars like the Chery. Like, say you take Toyota or Dodge and you want to build something in China or sell something in China, well, they can't actually just build a plant over there. They have to work with a local company, which is how all these companies get their designs, and why so many other companies are actually not going to China, because they end up having to sue for copyright and property right infringement.
yeah,
Yep.
because they're communists. That's not even a joke.
Yep.
And so anyway,
Sort of communists.
yeah, they're weird communists. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, so they were able to take the entire console of the N64 and put it in a controller. So it's a little bit bigger than your standard N64 controller, because it's packed full of hardware. And it doesn't use the full-size cartridges. It's got these sort of flash cards. They're probably about the size of a credit card, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little thicker, like the old the Super Graphics cards, Turbo Graphics.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting the Super Effects chip and the Turbo Graphics 16 confused. It's the PC Engine for our listeners outside of North America. And
So I never played the TurboGrafx, but I did have that Sega Master System that had either the cartridge or the card slots.
oh
Yeah.
yes, that was a weird add-on. But yeah, so it's basically that. It's almost like a plug-and-play console, but it still uses carts in some form or another.
Right. So I'm looking at a picture of it, and the button layout is pretty much identical. Well, no. So the A, B, and C buttons and the start button are in where you would expect them to be on an N64 controller. But the analog stick and the D-pad are just on the left. So you don't have that three-prong design of the N64 controller. You've got it almost looks like an original Xbox controller and a Dreamcast controller had a baby, and this is what happened.
Yep.
So if
It's
you
pretty ugly, actually.
Yeah,
these like vents on it because it gets hot. It's a console.
Right. And the vents are right in the middle of the thing. I can imagine if you were holding the controller the way that some people hold it, the way that I've seen, you would have hot air blowing on your face the entire, because the vent is on the top and not on the bottom.
Well,
Well, maybe that wasn't a design flaw. Maybe that was a feature designed to limit the amount of time you spend playing games. Because a lot of these
Maybe.
Asian people, man, they'll sit there until they die.
yeah, there have been multiple cases of people dying at video cafes because they didn't get up to use the bathroom or eat or drink.
It's just weird. I don't even understand how that happens.
That's when it becomes an addiction, and
Right.
addictions will kill you.
That's
Well,
very
last
true.
time I was in Hong Kong, I actually went to a Wang bar and I saw a couple of these guys that looked like they hadn't shaved or bathed. So,
Yeah. Crazy.
Man.
So, and to wrap this up, it came out on Wii Virtual Console, which means it's also on Wii U, January 2007. And actually, it has an official Wii U version if you paid the upcharge or just bought it for the first time.
That's $10.
Wii U, yeah. So, and Nintendo has. It seems like Nintendo's been pretty clear that your Virtual Console games aren't going to just straight up move from Wii and Wii U to the Switch, but they haven't said what that means. Like, are you going to have to buy them all over again, or is it going to be like going from Wii to Wii U, where you just pay $1 or $1.50 or whatever it was to get the upgrade? We have no idea, and I assume that we'll find out. Speaking of that, just to speak very briefly on this. A retailer in Australia sent a customer his Switch by accident already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's posted on Reddit a bunch. I'm sure I can find the feed and we can link to it in the description of the podcast here. He's posted an unboxing video. He's done a lot of just, text review or preview of it. He attempted to connect to the eShop at one point, and it told him he needed the day one console patch that has become fairly normal for consoles these days. He was afraid to do it though, because he figures Nintendo probably knows where that console came from.
Oh yeah, it would have an IP address and all
right,
that.
and he doesn't want the retailer to get in trouble, because I'm sure it was just it was a mistake. It's not like they did it on purpose. He doesn't want the retailer to get in trouble. He also doesn't want Nintendo to be like, why is there a Switch on the internet right now, and then do something to it, which, I mean, the most I can imagine that they would do to it is just keep it from working until launch day. I can't imagine they would brick it entirely.
Well, they could probably ban him from the servers, so he would never be able to connect.
Yeah, and that would be not good. So he hasn't connected it online. I've seen the few YouTubers that I saw do little videos on it have said, like, man, you should connect to the eShop and see what's on there. And I'm like, no, I'm with this dude. Don't do that, because you don't know what they'll do to your console. And that would really suck for you to get punished for a retailer's shipping mistake. So anyway, if you're interested in that, we'll have the link to the Reddit in the description. You can go check that out. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Mario Kart 64 today. So like I said, Mario Kart 64 was on the N64. It's the direct sequel to Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo. And it's a lot of fun. So it's a racing game, of course, if you don't know, where you fire Mario or Mushroom Kingdom themed weapons at each other, turtle shells, red shells. We actually did Super Mario Kart as an episode. So you can actually, I will very quickly look up which episode that was, so that if you like, you can go listen to it. While I'm looking for that, they did add a few weapons and a few features to this game, obviously, because if it was just like the original Mario Kart, why would anybody care? Notably, the turtle shells can now come in threes, and they float around you and act as a shield. that and that's with green shells and red shells. They also this was the first
first time the blue shell.
Blue shell
Yeah.
was in this game. And the blue shell, this is actually my favorite version of the blue shell. I want to say that every Mario Kart since then they changed it. Or I don't know, did it behave like this in Double Dash?
No.
Okay.
The closest they've gone back to this is in Mario Kart 8. But 8 is kind of a hybrid between how they changed it for Double Dash and Onward and how it worked in this game.
Okay. So in this game, the blue shell is an item that you get if you're not in first place.
You have to be like in 6th, 7th, or 8th.
Right.
So near the back.
So it's a pretty rare item. And it locks on to the person who was in first place at the time that the blue shell was fired. So if the blue shell gets fired, guy's in first place, and he gets passed up by the guy in second and third place or something like that, he's still the intended target.
Well, not exactly. It's up to a certain point it will target first place. So first and second can swap back and forth for a bit, but once it hits like a certain threshold, like it'll lock on to that person.
Okay.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
See, I just always hate it when it actually hit the guy in first after he already finished the race.
That was the worst.
But anyway, it would also stay on the track, so anyone that got in its way got hit. And the only way that you really knew that it was coming was you hear like this alarm sound.
Yeah, it's like a warning sound. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, to let you know that there's something coming up behind you, and you can pretty much, if you're not the intended target, getting off staying on the left and right side of the track.
Yeah, you gotta move to the edge.
Keep you out of the way, because the blue shell stayed pretty much in the center of the road. And then it would hit whoever was in first, and that was it. In later games, they added like an explosion to it.
Yeah.
So anyone who was in the vicinity of the explosion would get hit as well. And they also made it so that the blue shell kind of flew above the track.
Yeah, they gave it wings.
Yeah, and so it wasn't hitting people on the way to the intended target. And that, I don't know, I much preferred it to in Mario Kart 64.
Because I just loved hearing like how many people it hit on the way.
Yeah,
because your character makes a noise every time you do something good, and so if you're playing as Wario, whom I always played as, so if you're playing as Wario, you just hear this right every time it hits somebody, and I love it.
Yeah.
See, I always like the ghost, the boo.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It would
the ghost item.
It would take a player 2's item from them. You couldn't take. What if you were playing single player? Did you still get a ghost and it would just give you a random item?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and still turn you invisible. And of course, while you're invisible, you can't get hit by anything. So, and actually, I feel like in this one, if you were a ghost and someone fired a red shell and you would have been the intended target of the red shell. Doesn't the red shell just die?
Yeah, it just disappears.
Yeah, it goes away. So,
like it hit a wall.
Right. This was the red shells in this game. They still made a straight line for the target, right? Yeah. So they didn't
care about walls or anything.
Right. They didn't add. When did they start doing where the red shell would follow the track until it found who it was after?
I think that was Double Dash.
Okay.
Because I think Super Circuit came out after Double Dash. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So yeah, Double Dash would have been the next one in the series.
Right. And I've always felt like that kind of took the skill out of using red shells. Like you could just, I have a red shell, I'm just going to fire it and it will hit somebody. And whereas in Mario Kart 64, you needed to make sure that there was nothing between the red shell and the person it was going to hit. So you basically need a line of sight with the character, and if the character it was going to hit could get around a corner quick enough, or maybe put something between him and the red shell, you would defeat it. This game also introduced dragging items behind you.
Yes.
So you could get an item, and as long as it wasn't something like the Ghost or the Lightning Bolt or the Star Power, where you just use it and it has an immediate effect, you could take the item and drag it behind you. So you could drag banana peels behind you. You could drag your shells behind you. This game didn't have bombs in it, did it? It was
No.
later. Okay, so yeah, you could drag all these things behind you. Could you drag the blue shell behind you? I don't know why you'd want to.
You could.
I didn't think.
Yeah, I think you could. Yeah.
Maybe. Now I want to know.
Why would you want to? I mean, by the time you have it, there's no point.
Yeah, usually you just fire it immediately.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get a quick answer.
Didn't 64 have to compete directly with Diddy Kong Racing?
I don't know if it was direct competition because Rare was a second-party developer, and so Diddy Kong Racing was kind of a different game. It had an adventure mode. The items were very different.
Okay, so this game came out in '96. Actually, Diddy Kong Racing came out just a year later. I was thinking it was quite a bit later than that. So I would think that most people who had wanted Mario Kart 64 would have already had it by the time Diddy Kong Racing came out.
Yeah, I've got both, and I think I played Mario Kart first, and then I got Diddy Kong, and kind of went back and forth.
The later Mario Kart games had a tendency to take, or borrow rather, some of the stuff from Diddy Kong. Like, DDK Racing had like airplanes and boats or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mario Kart 7 introduced the hang glider. And then I think, because I remember in like Mario Kart 64, if you were in water, you slowed down. But now in the newer games, when you're in water, your cart has like this little propeller thing behind it. And so while the way that the cart handles might change a little bit, that you don't really suffer any hit to your speed. At least not that like in Mario Kart 8, driving underwater seemed to be pretty much like driving anywhere else. Didn't change much.
Yeah.
Diddy Kong Racing didn't have underwater because you had that hovercraft thing that you'd fly in. Yeah, Diddy Kong Racing is a great game. I used to have it, and I don't know what happened to my cart. And of course, since that most of the characters in it are owned by Rare, getting re-releases of it, at least without modifying characters, so like taking Banjo and Conker out of it and replacing them with something else, would be difficult to do.
It was released on the DS because Microsoft has no interest in handheld gaming, so it's not a conflict of interest to release on another console.
Yeah,
and so because Diddy Kong is owned by Nintendo, they could do it on a Nintendo console and it's handheld. Wonderful little loophole,
right? Well, and Phil Spencer, the guy who currently runs the Xbox division over at Microsoft, he seems pretty open to working with his competition, probably in ways that Nintendo never would. So, like, for example, when Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS was coming out, there was a lot of talk of like, oh, let's see if we can somehow get Banjo.
I wanted Banjo
in Smash Brothers, or even Banjo-Kazooie as a team in the game. And I mean, Phil Spencer seemed very open to the possibility. It doesn't sound like something that Nintendo would ever be interested in.
Oh, but then you have that Sony ripoff of Smash Brothers.
Oh, the what was
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale.
Yeah,
super long name.
That's true. That
games like that though. Capcom has done that a million times.
Super Ultra Nitro Street Fighter 2, the Championship Edition Final Battle, or whatever.
Well, they totally made fun of themselves.
The mashup games where they take
from
100 of games of theirs and they throw them together into a fighting game.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't there a fighting game with like Sega and Atlas characters all in it now? No, I'm thinking of that RPG.
What?
Neptuna or something, and it's got like 5 or 6 different publishers. Sega,
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Namco.
about.
Yeah, it's this weird. My brother's into it. It's a very strange Japanese role playing game.
Well, that's what I
Okay.
thought about Kingdom Hearts, and it became massively popular.
Oh yeah, but Kingdom Hearts has characters in it that people care about.
I don't. I have no interest in Kingdom Hearts. It never
Yeah,
persuaded me at all.
I don't either. Nolan is the Kingdom Hearts guy in our little group here, but he's not here, so we can sit here and rip on Kingdom Hearts all we want. There's nothing he can do about it at all. All right, back to Mario Kart. So, Super Mario Kart had 8 characters in it. Mario Kart 64 has 8 characters in it. They just don't have the same 8 characters. So
Yeah.
we got we added Wario at the expense of Koopa Troopa.
Yeah.
And that was what really bothered me because I always play as Koopa.
Yeah.
But
In Super
I
Mario
love
Kart,
Wario.
in Super Mario Kart, I always played as Koopa Troopa. So when Mario Kart 64 came out and he wasn't in it, I switched to Toad.
Yeah. Or Yoshi.
And Toad, this version of Toad is my favorite Toad voice. I don't really like 40-year-old smoker Toad voice we have now. I'm not crazy about it. I like that. I'm the best.
I'm the best. Yeah, he had that super high pitched voice. He didn't have that raspy, squeaky.
Yeah, and I'm not crazy about it, but that's just me. Actually, this game may have been the first time that a lot of these characters ever spoke. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah, I know.
Peach
Mario
talked
and-
in Super Mario 64 because the opening monologue when she's reading the letter. That's the only voice in that other than Mario shouting "Yeah, woohoo" and stuff.
Well, she says some things at the end of the game too.
Oh, that's true. There is talking at the end of it.
Let's make a cake.
64 have Birdie in it?
Birdo, no.
No.
It had. Let me.
Can't remember when Birdo was introduced.
I want to say she came around for Double Dash.
Yeah.
Say she. Birdo wasn't originally a girl.
That's.
I know. We've had this discussion before, actually.
Yeah, it's Birdo's confused. Okay, let's see. The characters that are in this are Mario, Luigi, Princess, Peach, Toad, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Bowser. Okay, so technically Donkey Kong is new because it was Donkey Kong Jr. in Super Mario Kart.
Yeah.
They just
But this
demo.
is Rare's version of Donkey Kong because he's got the pompadour and the tie.
Right, and actually Rare provided the model for.
Yep. And I remember reading that in the credits when I was a kid. I was like, what? But as far as I understand, that version of Donkey Kong is the grown-up version of Donkey Kong Jr.
Yes, I do believe
according
that
to the
is
lore of Donkey Kong Country.
So on canon.
So technically, yes, he's a new character, but he's still sort of the same character.
Mm-hmm. Just he doesn't wear that weird white onesie thing.
Unitard, whatever you want to call it.
Very, very strange.
Yes, he's pretty much naked except for the tie. Like,
right.
If I ran around and not but a tie, I would get arrested.
Yeah. So
if I ran around in unitard, I'd just get weird looks.
Indeed.
Not that I don't get them already.
Not if you're in San Francisco.
That's true. Yeah, so this would have been the first time that Luigi and Toad had any sort of English speaking. Yoshi, Donkey Kong, and Bowser just made noises.
Yeah.
Yoshi made that noise that it sounds like when you mount him in Super Mario World.
Yep.
And then
he hadn't developed his Yoshi voice yet. That wasn't
Right.
until Yoshi's story, I think.
Well, no. The voice was there. It just wasn't in the games because they had the TV show.
Oh,
he
yeah.
sounded super different in the TV show.
Right. Okay. So this is so he hadn't had a speaking voice in any of the video games yet, but you're right. In the TV show Super Mario World, he did talk. I remember that show.
Gosh,
Oh,
that cartoon was
unfortunately,
awful.
So do I.
Those were all. You know, the Super Mario Super Show, which was loosely based on Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 2, is on Netflix. But Mario 3 and Mario World are not.
Is it still on Netflix?
I want to say it's still on Netflix. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure it's there. And I think you can also watch because every Friday
Oh
on
my
that
gosh!
show,
Yes.
every Friday on that show, they played a Legend of Zelda cartoon, and that might be on Netflix too. I don't like as a separate thing. I don't remember. I
You
know.
remember that Game Master show they had?
Yeah, Captain N
Captain N.
with
Yeah, I love
I
that.
wanted a zapper.
with
Mm-hmm.
Mega Man, who also had weird 40-year-old smoker voice
Mega.
the whole time.
Everything was mega this and mega that.
Yeah, and Simon Belmont,
Simon Belmont.
and then like a,
Link, girly
a-
Link.
there's-
Link was only in like one episode, and he was more grown up.
yeah, and then who was it? The girl. She wasn't a Nintendo character,
Lana
was she?
from some RPG, I think.
Oh, okay, so she was, and then a sentient Game Boy for some reason.
That's the
Oh,
Game
yeah,
Boy.
product placement.
Did the Game Boy talk, or did it just
Yes,
make
it did.
noise?
It made weird talking noises.
That's weird. We should do an episode where we watch that cartoon.
I'll pass,
Talk
thanks.
about it. Yeah,
And I'm the cartoon guy.
those were pretty bad. All right, yeah. So obviously the move from Super Mario Kart to Mario Kart 64 introduced 3D graphics. They could do a lot of things in 3D that they couldn't do in the original game, like you had hills, or ramps or other things. You had height introduced into the game instead of just the little hops that you could do, and because that was about all the verticality that you got whatsoever in Super Mario Kart. But interestingly, if you've got a person that plays games and you notice things like this, and I know a lot of people would play casually and not notice this, pretty much everything in this game is in 3D except the characters themselves.
Yeah.
So the characters are sprites that were rendered from 3D models of them, and then this technique is called billboarding. And apparently the N64 just could not handle having all 8 characters on a track at the same time in 3D. So they did this, and they, of course I don't know how many 2D sprites there are, but as you move around the characters, the angle at which you can see them does change. I don't know if it's like there's 8, so you've got like directly behind and then kind of off to the side and then directly to the side and all that stuff. And there's probably more than just 8 pictures that they're cycling through it. But it works. It doesn't look terrible. I mean, you can definitely tell when you're not so much in the racing, because in the racing you're really just seeing all the characters from the back.
Oh, maybe you are.
What? Ha ha. But in battle mode, when you can see, the characters are running in all kinds of different directions, you can definitely tell when you're coming up on one and then the angle changes that the character kind of does this little jittery skip.
Yeah.
It's not very smooth at all, but
if you hold the A and the B button simultaneously and the control stick in one direction or another, you can spin in place, and so then you get to see your character. It looks like he's just like wobbling back and forth because you're cycling through all those sprites like very quickly.
Right. And this was because in like in the original Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart, if you hit a wall, there wasn't a way to back up, was there?
If you hold B and press back.
Okay. But you could also just hop and kind of turn if you wanted to do that. And so in this game, they introduced this, I guess it's kind of like a donut, so that if you were in a position where you needed to be able to turn but not move forward, that you could do that. Also back to weapons. So we were talking about being able to drag an item behind you, and I didn't point out that the reason you would do this is if someone fires a a weapon at you, you can drag the item behind you and it will block it. So like a red shell or something like that. It won't block a blue shell. Nothing blocks a blue shell.
Except for Power Star.
Yes, except for the Power Star. But it also allowed you to clear the box where your item was, and you could actually pick up a second item. And
yes.
So that, and then that way, if you say you get a banana peel and you're like, oh, I really don't want this, I'm going to drag it behind me and get another item box and see if I get something better. And then if you get just another banana peel, you can decide, well, I'm going to hold on to both of them or whatever. So, and on the note of banana peels in Super Mario Kart, and actually in some later Mario Karts also, when you hit a banana peel, you wipe out immediately. There's nothing you can do about it. In Mario Kart 64, they introduced this really cool mechanic where if you hit a banana peel or something else that would have that effect, I want to say some tracks had like oil slicks and stuff.
No, in 150cc, you could lose control if you turn too. Yeah.
Yeah. You can hit the brake or at the very least let go of the gas and regain control of the cart rather than take the hit from it, which was a really nice feature that I wish. Did they bring that back from Mario Kart 8?
I've never been able to recreate that. It's You almost always immediately spin out.
Right.
And
and I don't know at what point could you do this in Double Dash also?
I don't remember.
I can't remember at what point that they removed this. And
I want to say they only did this for 64. And I know it seems like you had to like just sort of nick the banana peel. You couldn't hit it dead on. So if you hit it dead on, you'd spin out immediately.
Yeah.
But if you just barely nicked it, you had like about a second to hit the brakes, or tap the brakes repeatedly, and you would, regain control.
Right. And it was a really cool feature that they should bring back.
Like the tires made like a weird noise. They gave you an audio cue, really.
Right, and your cart even kind of like wobbled back and forth for a little bit, and then when you successfully regained control of your car, the noise would go away, your cart would straighten out, and your character would
let out a music note.
Yeah,
they let out a little music note. It was like you're whistling a sigh of relief.
And you're like, yay, I got it. So,
except they didn't actually make a noise. It's just a little music note. Like comic book box thing. Shut up.
Right.
It was this comic book actually.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of the onomatopoeias appearing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. This game also introduced the speed boost from a power slide. So you'd go into a turn and you'd hop into the turn. And this was something you could kind of do in Super Mario Kart. You could hop into a turn, but it was very difficult to control your character while you were in that. You could wipe out pretty easily in Super Mario Kart, but in this game, you'd hop into a turn and you'd get like smoke coming out of the back of your car. And I want to say, was it shaped like an E?
It started out as a V and then it became an E because again, it's a comic book onomatopoeia, so it's like your tires are squealing, so it's going to V.
Right. And as you move the analog stick to the outside of your turn and then back to the inside of your turn, and you do that like I think it's 3 times, and as long as you do it right, you'll get a speed boost once you let go of the R button.
Yeah, you had to wait for the smoke to change colors. It would go from gray to yellow to red.
Yeah.
Once it turned red, you were ready to do the power boost.
Right. And then I know in Double Dash, they started signifying that visually by sparks coming out of your tires. And that's why today it's known as, isn't it called blue sparks or something?
I guess.
I've heard people.
I've never heard that term. I've always heard it as a power slide.
Oh.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe that was something that my brother and I did, because my brother and I played the heck out of Double Dash, and we got really well. I'll save the story for when we inevitably do Double Dash, because
we were supposed to do that at one time.
We were supposed to do that, and our plans fell through.
Kind of fell through
because your Wii.
My Wii crapped out right at the last second. It works fine now, but it wasn't then.
does. That's if it's true that Virtual Console GameCube games are happening on Switch, Double Dash needs to be one of those games.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
They need to do at least a Double Dash sequel, but increase the number of characters.
Yeah.
Because they could do so many cool things, and release it on something that I have.
So 3DS.
I actually have a Wii U at the house, and I might have pieces of a Wii left, and I've got a 64, but I do have my 3DS.
Well,
I spent about 8 hours on my 3DS yesterday, actually.
I think it's safe to say that you're not going to get a Wii version or a Wii U version of this.
Yeah, Nintendo's done developing Wii U games.
Yeah, and they're pretty unlike like Sony and Microsoft seem to for a year or two. They'll be like, yeah, there's a couple games coming out for that old system. Nintendo's like, nope, that thing is dead. It's on to the new one. If you don't like it, get over it.
Yeah.
Although they were releasing, what was it? Kirby's Adventure came out for the NES sometime after the SNES launched. So.
Yeah, I think it's either the SNES or the N64 was the last time they really had crossover development.
Yeah,
like the previous console life extended into the next console.
Right. The last game that I bought brand new for my Super Nintendo was Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. And if it didn't come out after the N64 came out, I'm pretty sure it came out the same year.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It was real close to the N64 coming out. But to be fair, that's a game that would have had probably a pretty long development time. And it would have been silly to try and change that up at the last minute, especially since Squaresoft developed that game or co-developed that game, and they were not happy with Nintendo's decision to go cartridges for the N64. And that's why Final Fantasy VII came out for the PlayStation.
So, just to answer your question, Super Mario RPG released in North America on May 13th, 1996, and the Nintendo 64 came to North America officially on September 29th, 1996.
Okay, so it was definitely the same year.
Same year, a few months later.
Yep.
So
I knew they were close.
I think the Super Nintendo is still my favorite of the Nintendo consoles.
it definitely has some of the best games on it. I will defend my position to the death that A Link to the Past is the better Zelda game compared to Ocarina of Time.
Yep.
I agree. I completely agree.
I know
Zelda ever beat.
Nolan just got outvoted again. Haha.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I love Ocarina of Time. It's not a bad game, but A Link to the Past is better.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I like the top-down style of Zelda better anyway.
Yes. It's easier to see the enemies coming at you, and the puzzles, like, you can just kind of look back and, like, figure out the puzzle a little better.
Yeah.
Being forced into this perspective.
Did that... I know we're getting way off on a tangent. Did that fan project that was... I think it was Ocarina of Time in the style of A Link to the Past...
We talked about that on the very first episode. Nintendo put the kibosh on that.
Did they? Of course they did.
Like, as soon as
killed a lot of things.
Yeah, as soon as they heard
a couple of fan-made Pokemon too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you see, these fan developers are getting smarter these days. They develop the entire game in secret, like with just a few people, and then they release it to the public, hoping that in a day or two before Nintendo shuts it down, that it will get out to enough people.
Yeah,
to, like, actually develop a fan base based on the that's weird. Anyway, so like Pokemon Uranium or AM2R, you know, are the latest examples of this, where Nintendo totally shut them down right away, but it was able to get out there in the wild for a bit as a full game. And they even released a patch for AM2R. Like,
yeah, there was the CrossForge Gaming YouTube channel actually got a copyright notice from Nintendo the other day. We did a news show, and I used some footage from the original Switch reveal trailer that came out in December, and we got a little not a takedown notice, just a copyright notice, and we did the first appeal, but they ruled in favor of Nintendo, of course, and then of course told us, you can appeal this decision, but if that appeal doesn't go through, then you'll get a hit on your channel, and quite honestly, the hit's not worth it. So we just were like, okay, fine.
Did you use the audio also, or was it just...
No?
Oh, that's not fair.
And not only that, but the it's just a piece of the trailer. It's not the entire thing, and it's not filling the entire screen. Now, that's just because of how, when I downloaded it, that's just how it turned out. And so I was like, oh, well, I don't care. That's actually kind of cool looking. It looks like my me is standing in front of a TV. So I left it that way. But I really thought, there's no audio, and it's only a piece of it, and it's not full screen, and my me is in front of it. Maybe it won't be a big deal, but apparently.
One more question. How long is the clip?
I don't know. It might be 30 seconds.
Yeah, because I think you only get up to 30 seconds with fair use.
Okay, well, then I guess I should have made it shorter. But now I know. It kind of. This is the first time anything like this has ever happened to me, and it kind of made me think, like, come on, Nintendo, I'm advertising for you. I don't know why you're.
Yeah, but if you don't have permission.
Right, and it's not like we were gonna make any money off of that video anyway, so it's not like.
But you could.
I could, but we won't.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're supposed to be talking about Mario Kart 64.
Yes. And not Nintendo's poor, whatever they call it.
This is back when Nintendo was nice to most people, and they're like, just play our games and have fun.
All right. So music in this game. This game introduced what I think most people probably think of when they think of Rainbow Road music.
Yeah.
Even though it's only ever been used one other time, and that was
for Mario Kart 8.
Right. And for that version of Rainbow Road.
Yes.
But I know when I think of Rainbow Road music, this is what I think of. They don't do a whole lot of reusing Mario Kart music unless it's a track that they're reusing.
Yeah, I actually learned that on this game, they reused the same music for, was it 4 tracks? Yes.
Yeah.
So Luigi, Mario, and Royal Raceway all have the same track, as well as Wario Stadium. It's all the same music.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what you should have heard at the beginning, by the way.
Yeah. I guess you could call it. It's not really the theme because it's not the title screen music, but.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the theme of this game. Like, it's the one piece of music you will hear the most because it's on 4 different tracks. And so it's really like when you think of Mario Kart 64, this is the song that plays in your head.
Right. I'm trying to think of other songs that are repeated, and I know the track that plays on Moo Moo Farm also plays on Yoshi's Valley.
Yes, it does.
But I don't. Are there any other repeated?
I don't think so. I know that there were a couple of reused songs, and I think those are the only 2.
Are there 2 ice levels?
Yeah, but they have different music as far as I know.
Maybe they do.
It's Sherbet Land and Frappe Snowland.
Yeah. Okay, maybe they do have different music. I don't really remember. So yeah, I like the Rainbow Road music. I also really like the credits music from this game.
Yes,
it's very nice.
Kind of jumped the gun there a little. That's the song you'll hear at the end.
There you go. And there's a really nice OC remix version of the credits theme that I've downloaded. I think that's the only. I like OC remix, but I find that a lot of it it's not different enough from. It's either not different enough from the original track, or it's so different that it's barely recognizable. And this OC remix of what does he call it? I think he named it "The End of the Day" or something. Anyway, it's really good. Maybe I'll link to it.
I was wrong. Frappe Snowland and Sherbet Land do have the same
song.
I don't know why I thought they were different. Other reused tracks would be Choco Mountain, Block Fort, and Double Deck.
Oh, yeah.
I hate Choco Mountain.
Yeah, I don't like that one either.
My most hated track in this game. Because there is a point at which you can fall off and end up at the, like, pretty much the beginning of the track and have to redo the lap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because there's like a really sharp turn.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to take the turn again, but you're up a level.
Yeah.
You fall off because there's no wall. Yeah, you do pretty much have to do the entire lap over again, and that's.
I remember that happened to me I fell off, redid the lap, went into the next lap, fell off again, redid the lap, and then the third time fell out. I think at that point I just turned off the console. I was like, I'm done.
It's if you're playing multiplayer, it's actually very satisfying to knock somebody off.
Yeah, it is, but man, it was. Like I think I was trying to go for a time trial or something like that, and I was like, 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember I fell off, restarted, fell off, restarted, fell off the third time. I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
That's also fun to do when you're playing Wario Stadium. Wait for a bunch of people to get to that jump.
Oh,
and either use the lightning bolt. And then you're not going fast enough to make the jump. Now that doesn't put you nearly as far back as screwing up in Choco Mountain, but it's still.
No, but it'll break some friendships down.
Oh yeah,
well, I saw a guy do it to his wife.
Oh, dude, that's grounds for divorce right there.
It was hilarious. They were live streaming, and he just gets this stupid grin on his face, and he's watching her screen, waiting, bam.
That's so mean.
I know.
Was she new to the game?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and he had even said like 2 or 3 minutes before, like, I love, doing this. And and then when he gets the lightning bolt in his inventory, he just get that stupid grin on his face.
That's so wrong. Oh, and how do you guys feel about screen looking?
It's in the manual.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, you're right. It is in the manual. They do recommend that you do. Yeah. See, I've always been of the idea that if you can watch these other people's screens and still keep an eye on what you're doing, like, go for it.
Yeah.
That's if you don't want to be able to do that, then maybe you need to get 16 Xboxes and 16 copies of Halo instead of playing on the same screen. That's the price you pay.
That's the way it is with like that and GoldenEye and all those split screen shooters that you had to do it that way because you couldn't.
Right, that's true. GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, obviously the N64 didn't have LAN capability, so it was either split screen or no multiplayer at all. But yeah, I did stuff like that all the time. Like, oh, I've got a lightning bolt. I'm gonna wait for my human opponent to be somewhere where this is advantageous to me, and then use it. So, or if I've got a ghost, make sure that my human opponent has an item that I actually want. Of course, if I were playing and my human opponent had a ghost, then I would just do everything I can to either avoid getting items or because if you're playing 2-player Grand Prix and you get a ghost, you're going to take the item of the other human. You're not going to get a random item from a computer player. So, speaking of that, so in the original Super Mario Kart, the CPU, they didn't collect items. They just had items. I can't remember how this game handled that. Because I know that if a CPU opponent hits an item box, it does break.
Yeah. So from what I could tell, they don't get offensive items. They get mostly just defensive items. But they're really good at... What?
Thematic type stuff. If I recall correctly, Toad almost always got mushrooms, and Yoshi had like his egg or something special. I'm trying to remember where. Because I remember specifically one of these games where each one of the characters had its own particular.
Yeah, so in Super Mario Kart, they could only get their thematic item. In Double Dash, every character had an exclusive item that no one else could get, but you still got that from the item box. I'm trying to remember if I remember seeing things like eggs laying in the middle of the track on this game.
No, that didn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah, but the fake item block was used a lot by the
Oh,
computer.
I love that item.
Yeah.
You drag it behind you until you get to a group of other like real item blocks and you drop it in the middle of it and just wait.
Yeah,
It's
because
so satisfying.
like in Double Dash, they made it bright red so you could tell that it was fake.
Which is
But in this
stupid.
game, it's just an upside down question mark. You can't tell until it's too late.
Yeah. You're pretty much right on top of it, and
it could block shells also.
Yep.
Which was nice. Or you could just drag it behind you and sideswipe somebody and take them out with that. And
yeah,
it was great. I loved the fake item block in this game.
And you learned pretty quickly. Like, of course, the item boxes in every track are in the same place, so you learn where they are, but you also kind of notice like, oh, this item block is way off by itself. Probably not real.
Yeah, but it's also like you could strategically place it somewhere where it's like almost a guaranteed hit. Like I know in Frappe Snowland, you have to go in Sherbet Land, you have to go in the very narrow cave, and there's like these two giant penguins going back and forth.
Oh yeah.
I like
so you could put it.
The question block or the banana peels at the downside ramp of that jump in Wario's stadium.
Yes.
Oh
that's
yeah.
a good one
So
too.
like sometimes people just land right on top of it, and there's not really anything you can do about it.
Yeah.
Because you're in the air, and you have no. Once you're in the air, you're not Mario and Mario Brothers. Once you're in the air, you have no control over.
You're committed.
You're going to land wherever the game has you landing, and putting fake item boxes and banana peels right at the end of a jump was a lot of fun. Speaking of jumps, in the Royal Raceway, there's a big jump and it actually has boost pads on it, and you fly pretty far. At the end of the jump, when you land, off to the right is Peach's Castle from Super Mario 64.
Yep.
It's the same location that when you complete a Grand Prix and the what do you call it, the award ceremony is happening. That happens there. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if they were just loading that track and there it is.
That's kind of how N64 games worked. Most of the cutscenes were done in engine,
right?
And so like that part. It was actually in the game. You could access it.
Yeah, and you could drive over there, and it looked pretty much exactly like Peach's Castle from Super Mario 64. There might have been
in the water.
Yeah, there might have been like an extra fence here and there to keep you from getting to certain areas, but you could still fall in the water and get pulled out and all that stuff.
Your card has very limited range, so like you couldn't go up the hills or anything.
Yeah. So that was pretty neat. The same track appears in Mario Kart 8, but you can't get to the castle. I think you can see it.
You can see it, but you can't get to it.
You can't get to it. They've got it blocked off there. So thinking of the award ceremony made me think of one of my favorite features in battle mode, because this kind of makes an appearance in the award ceremony. In the award ceremony, if you don't place. So if you're playing by yourself, or if you're playing if you're playing 2-player and neither one of you get first, second, or third, you still get a little cutscene of the characters that did make first, second, and third, and they drive up to the award podium and get there. But your character is kind of off to the side and really upset, and he drives away, and a little bomb vehicle follows you over this hill, and once you both get behind the hill, your character explodes, and then it tells you, that you lost and all that stuff. But how that relates to battle mode is, in battle mode, if you're playing with more than 2 people, any players that got wiped out first, so other than, second place, instead of just being eliminated from the game completely and having to sit there and watch the rest of the battle, unfold. They would turn into this bomb cart, and you could go seek out other players.
Yeah, you could go ruin someone's day.
Right, and go hit them and eliminate one balloon. Now, once that happened, you were out. You didn't like respawn as this bomb cart again. You only had one life as it. And really, the only way that the other players could get rid of you was to run into you with a star man. Because even if you hit a turtle shell or a banana peel or something, you just wipe out and nothing really happens. But if you get hit with an invincible player, then you're knocked out. I used to like to, because the bomb's actually pretty small and difficult to see by the other players. So, but one of the things that I like to do was just go find a patch of item boxes and just sit in it and wait. And somebody would come flying around a corner and hit me. Because the other thing about the bomb cart is he's quite a bit slower than the other players.
Yeah.
So you're not going to catch anybody going the same direction that they are. You've got to kind of watch the map or watch their screen, and as the case may be, and kind of maneuver yourself to be coming in front of them and try and hit them. Because if you're chasing them, you're never going to catch up because you're just not fast. You think you're even slower than the slowest characters in the game, I want to say. So I also am not sure if they couldn't use items. I know they could break item boxes. Could they do the power slide?
I don't know.
I don't feel like they could.
I never played as the bomb cart much.
Oh,
I remember this feature because I wasn't really a battle mode kind of guy.
Oh.
I love this. Was I can't remember. Was the double dash battle mode good?
It was all right.
Because I feel like this was the last really good battle.
I really
mode
hope
series.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has a better battle mode.
Oh, I do too.
Yes. I remember the best battle mode in Double Dash is actually the Shine.
Yeah.
Shine Steel or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically hot potato, but you want the potato.
Right. So, it's like, or if you're familiar with Halo, there's a game, I don't remember what it's called, but you carry around a skull, and the longer you have the skull, the more points you rack up. But while you have the skull, you're defenseless. So it's really just about running.
No, you can kill people with the skull.
Oh, okay. So you can melee people. Okay, but you can't pull your pistol out or anything and shoot people. So, all right. Joel, you had this growing up, surely.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any good stories?
My brother Adriel and I played battle mode a lot, which is why I never played as the bomb cart much, because we only did 2-player. My other brothers had moved out, and he had moved back in, is what it was. So, yeah, we played battle mode a lot, because he didn't care about racing, and so I got pretty good at battle mode, and he had some pretty interesting techniques about filling up like double deck with green shells, so that way they were going at 90-degree angles, just bouncing back and forth. And Blockford, he did the same thing, and so I had to get good against him because he had played with his college buddies, and so when he moved back in after college, and we were playing this, I was like, oh dang, like, gosh, stories. I know that I broke the game. I soft locked it on Skyscraper. In the after you win the battle mode, you can, if you're stopped over an item block, you will keep collecting that item block over and over again.
Yeah.
And until you press the button to move on. But there is one item block for whatever reason that spawns faster than the others. And so if you keep pulling the trigger in the menu, you can actually keep using your items because it's spawning so fast.
I didn't know that. Huh.
And you do this, and eventually it will overload the game, and the whole thing freezes up. Huh. Because you're not supposed to do that. Right. I don't know what it is. Like there's some for whatever reason, like, yeah. So don't do that, kids.
Yeah.
But it's something you can do. So that was a weird glitch I found.
They don't do that, kids. But I'm sitting there just thinking, I don't know that my kids would want to play that.
Yeah, this is one of those things you do when you're really, really bored.
Well, and even just Mario, you're talking about just what they want to play Mario Kart 64 in general.
Right. I mean, now don't get me wrong. My kids will play Super Nintendo all the time because that's, a 2D side-scrolling kind of deal. But
Yeah.
once you start looking into the 3D things, if it doesn't look nice, they don't want to play with it.
Yeah, and N64 games didn't particularly age well in the visual department. It was just a symptom of the time. PlayStation 1 games often don't look real good either. And even like real early PS2 games can look pretty rough around the edges. So, yeah, I know what you mean. When I tried to play an Ocarina of Time for the first time in a long time, not that long ago, I just remember being like, oh my word, this is painful to look at.
I don't know.
It hurts my face.
I love Majora's Mask on the N64.
Mm-hmm.
I hated it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know. But then again, one of my favorite games is Banjo-Kazooie, and it's definitely got that very polygonal look to it.
You also hated Banjo-Kazooie there, Jimmy? Yeah. I didn't hate it. I definitely felt overwhelmed. Like, this was early on. Like, we talked about this in the Banjo-Kazooie episode, which I think was the very second
Number 2,
episode of this. Yeah. It was kind of the beginning of Rare being like, how much is there a limit to how much we can put into this before it becomes not fun anymore? And Donkey Kong 64 was definitely them achieving that. Like, okay, we have made it so that this isn't fun anymore because there's too much to do.
Yeah.
But I felt like Banjo-Kazooie was, at least for me, was teetering on that. Like,
Banjo-Tooie was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Those open world games. I was more into Spyro and some of the Xbox stuff like Raises Hell or Cameo Elements of Power.
I had Cameo for the 360.
Cameo wasn't really that open world, but it kind of had the same sort of feel to it, yeah?
Yeah. Cameo also had the unfortunate fate of being in development for a very long time and being in development during the transition from Nintendo to Microsoft. And so when the game came out, like, you could tell, like, there's a really good idea buried under this kind of mess that we eventually got. Same thing with Perfect Dark Zero. Perfect Dark Zero had so many just technical problems.
Well, I mean, I didn't get Cameo because I wanted to play Cameo. I got Cameo because I wanted something that looked nice on my brand new shiny 360.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same reason why I got Viva Pinata, which I hated that game, but I enjoyed looking at it.
Yeah. Cameo is also on Rare Replay if you pick that up. I had
Rare Replay. I get it from Battletoads, and that's it. Because sooner or later, one of these days, before I die, I'm going to beat that damn game.
Yes.
It's the dream. Anyway, back to Mario Kart. Did you have this when it first came out, Jimmy?
What, Mario Kart 64?
Mario Kart 64.
I don't remember if I did or didn't, because I grew up poor, like very much so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the kind of unfortunate circumstance I was in. Like, my grandparents, they bought me a Game Boy for Christmas one year, and we're talking the old, green and black chrome kind of monochrome.
Yeah.
And then they showed it to me and then said, but we're going to take it back because we don't know where it hooks into the television. And so they took it back to the store, and I ended up getting like Kenny G records or something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But I didn't start getting games until I started like finding ways to make money myself. And the 64 I bought like third hand off of some kid. and I ended up having, was it like Rogue Squadron and I think Star Fox 64, and for a while I had Mario Kart 64, and I played the Jesus out of it. But you know, because of my situation, I would go to Rhino Video or Babbage's or whatever happened to be open at the time period, and did a lot of, you know, swapping games, kind of like people do at GameStop now.
Right.
But back when swapping games was a lot more equitable to the person who was swapping. And so, you know, it was basically like a game library to me. I only ever had one, maybe two cartridges at a time. So I didn't have it for very long, if I had it at all.
Okay.
So I guess the short answer, no.
No. All right. Well, I had this growing up. I can't remember if I bought it or if I got it as a gift. I feel like, because I very vividly remember getting Super Mario Kart for my birthday. But I don't remember if, I feel like I bought this myself, because at the time the N64 came out, I was old enough to be like mowing lawns and things like that. So I was making not a lot of money for myself, but making enough to feed my video game habit anyway. Of course, it also seems like maybe I did get this as a gift, because I know that I paid for Star Fox 64 myself, and that game came out not long after this one did, and I find it hard to believe that I had enough money for both that quickly. So who knows? But anyway, I did grow up with the game. My brother and I spent hours playing this. This was I think I've told everyone on the show or listening to the show before that my house was kind of the party house. So if there was going to be GoldenEye nights, they happened at my place. If there was going to be Mario Kart nights, they happened at my place. So it definitely had a healthy rotation of people to play with. There were enough people in the house that wanted to play most of the time that it was pretty easy to go, okay, we're going to play 4 players, and the only person who gets to stay in the game is the winner of whatever match it was we were playing, and you could very easily fill in the other 3 spots with different people. So I spent most of that time, of course, playing battle mode and versus, because Grand Prix was only 2 players at the time. So yeah, I had a ton of fun with it. I think my thing about battle mode, and my favorite battle mode track, I know a lot of people's favorite battle mode track was probably Block Fort, because that seems to be the one that everyone clamors for every time a new Mario Kart comes out and they want to bring back old stages. But my favorite was always the Skyscraper, because I got pretty good at knocking people off of it.
So you get 2 for 1.
Right. Yeah, because especially if you hit somebody hard enough with a character like Bowser or Wario, that alone would get rid of a balloon. But if you could hit them, or even with a star, if you hit them with a star, you could eliminate a balloon. And usually, if it didn't happen all the time, but if the animation of them being hit ended while they were falling off of the skyscraper, they would lose that balloon, and then they would lose another balloon for being off the track.
Yeah.
So I got pretty good at being able to do that. So, yeah. So I've had, actually no, because I didn't own Double Dash. I knew other people that owned Double Dash, even though I had a GameCube. And then I don't think I actually bought another Mario Kart game until Mario Kart DS, because they didn't have the Game Boy one. Or was there one on Game Boy Color, or was it Game Boy Advance?
Yeah, Super Circuit was on Game Boy Color.
Okay, so I didn't have that one. I'm pretty sure there was one on Game Boy Advance that I also didn't have.
I'm sorry, Super Circuit was Game Boy Advance, not Game Boy Color.
Advance, yeah, and it was very similar to Super Mario Kart.
Yes,
just because it was all 2-dimensional. Did Game Boy Advance, did it have Mode 7? Or something similar to it, maybe? Because
it's like a Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
handheld. So
right.
It probably had something like Mode 7.
Yeah. It was more comfortable to play than the Game Boy Color was too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. You guys remember the original Game Boy Advance before the SP came out? And
I have one. I love it.
Okay, yeah, it kind of looked like a Vita does today.
Yes.
I didn't like the SP. I I like the original.
SP does not fit in my hand well.
It doesn't fit in my hand well, but it had that backlight. Or no, it wasn't even backlight. It was a front light, which means it wasn't quite as good as backlight. But at least it was a light.
Yeah.
No, I felt like Game Boy Advance games were really difficult to see on the original Game Boy Advance. Although what made me upset about the SP was because of where ports were moved to on the SP. First of all, the SP did not have a headphone jack. So people that are all complaining about like your iPhone doesn't have a headphone jack, and Nintendo was doing that before it was cool. So it was also annoying. But the Game Link cable port was also moved to so the cartridge port was on the bottom of it, and the Game Link cable port was on the top. And what that meant was if you had that weird, you guys remember the e-reader with you swipe the cards?
Yeah.
It didn't work with the SP because of where the ports were. And I had an e-reader for a little while. And since it didn't work with the SP and I traded in my original purple Game Boy Advance, I got rid of the e-reader. It's not like the e-reader did much.
The GBA, the only games that I ever played on that, like I bought it specifically for Pokemon. Just about every handheld game that I've ever bought from Nintendo is meant specifically for Pokemon.
Yeah.
But I also look for Advanced Wars wherever I can find it. And was it Final Fantasy Tactics? And then there's this one game. It's really popular. I can't remember what it's called, but it's got the most recent iteration. I understand had 2 versions and had like permanent death for the characters and whatnot.
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem, that's it.
Yeah. That and that series has become quite popular recently.
I think it's getting too complicated for me. I like the original just fine, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, made by the same people who did Advance Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, same type of game. Turn-based strategy, same type of game anyway. Yeah.
I'd
So
like
anyway,
to make Suikoden in that style.
I've played one of those. I think. Which one's like the super popular one? Is it 2 or 3?
I don't know.
I think it was on the
first one.
I think it was on the PS2. My cousin loves that game a lot. So, anyway, the impact that this game has had on culture and the industry itself is probably largely the same impact that the original game had. So if we talked about that, we'd probably just be rehashing things that we have already discussed.
Mario Kart?
Mario Kart 64. We always
have you discussed the various knockoffs that have come since?
Yeah, because we did an episode on Super Mario Kart, so we talked about like Wacky Wheels and Crash Team Racing, and there's an M&M's based kart racer, and
there's Mickey's USA Speedway.
Yep. And we also mentioned that Sonic and Sega All-Star, whatever it is, that long complicated name.
Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed.
is actually that version anyway. I don't know about the previous versions of the game, but that version is actually a pretty good Mario Kart knockoff that I know a lot of people who think that game is better than most Mario Karts. I don't know how right they are because I have it. I don't.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the seminal Mario Kart game is always going to be Double Dash, and after I wasted all my time and energy and effort buying the first Wii when they were impossible to get, I actually spent probably 4 times as much as it was worth and only kept it for a few months. The only thing I really kept it for was to play my GameCube games because my GameCube stopped working.
Yeah.
And I played the snot out of Double Dash. I mean, that's all I did.
Yeah. Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart 8, and Double Dash are my top 3 in the series. I know I've tried to put them in order before, but they're definitely my top 3. And my brother and I tore it up in Double Dash because we had a pretty good system where I would drive and he would sit in the back and handle all the weaponry, and we got pretty unstoppable amongst our friends. We were a good team.
Nice.
Oh.
Do you ever play the land mode in Double Dash?
No, I've never, unfortunately, been in a situation where I can make
Neither
that
have
happen.
I. And those LAN adapters are super expensive now.
They are pretty darn expensive. So, anybody else got anything else to say about this game? It's good. Go play it.
But Koopa go back in it.
There you go. If you're listening, Nintendo, you heard it here first.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a lot more like Mario Kart 64. Because, I mean, Mario Kart 8 was pretty close as far as, like, pure racing and like, the ability to, like, the creativity of the tracks and everything, the various items. It felt like I was playing just a newer version of 64, with a few more mechanics added to it.
Well,
And
a lot of Nintendo's Mario games are going kind of backwards in their era type feel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the platform versions now feel a lot like Mario 3 did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mario 3D World is definitely like Mario 3, but in 3D.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, it's time to start wrapping up, which means we're at the part of the show where, so Jimmy, we play little games on this show where the first game is that we're going to attempt to guess the Metacritic score of Mario Kart 64. So, and actually, so we play it Price is Right style, so you can't go over or you bust, which means that it's actually advantageous to go last. So since you're the guest, we'll let you go last and take that advantage. I'm going to go ahead and say what my number is and then look up the score, because otherwise that's cheating.
How about you tell me what Metacritic's range is, because I don't really
Oh,
follow
it's 0 to 100.
Yeah,
100
0
being the best.
Right. So, so I'll go ahead and guess, and then I'll...
Okay, normally we would have, like, LJ look it up, and since he's not here, I already looked it up.
Oh.
So,
okay, it's just me and Jimmy playing. That works. All right, so first of all, it's important to know, well, I guess they would be reviewing this game even if they were reviewing it on the Wii or the Wii U. So that doesn't matter.
I disagree. A lot of games that are on multi-platforms are critiqued based on how they handle using that particular system's controllers.
Yeah,
I guess it's also true. Well, Joel, can you tell us what version of the game it is that we're looking at here?
as far as I can tell, it's the original version.
The original version. All right. Then that's what I'm going to go based on. So I'm going to guess this game's pretty well received, both critically and just by fans and not just by critics. So I'm going to guess that this one's pretty high up there, and I'm going to give it an 87.
Okay.
Well, I've had the number 89 in my head since you started talking about the range, so I'm just going to stick with that.
All right.
Well, you're both over.
We're both over. All right. We got to
Really?
re-guess. Man, that's surprising.
62.
Okay. Oh, well, all right. Is that your guess?
Don't care.
Okay. If he's going to say... Well, see, I was going to say 75, so that's what we're going with.
All right. Well, the actual score is 83.
Oh! We were really close the
You
first
were really
time.
close the first
Just
time, but you
over.
both went over.
So, yay, I win. I feel like, have I won every time? I know I've won a lot.
Yeah, you won a lot. I don't know if every
We should-
time.
We should be keeping track of this somehow. We're bragging, right? So. All right, so this is the part of the show where we play 20 questions. We are recording this part of the show later, so if there's like a weird cut and you're like, what happened? That's what happened.
If you're wondering why Nolan has suddenly joined us.
Yeah. Nolan,
Yeah.
He just kind of teleported into the conversation. And
Exactly.
if you've seen The Matrix, Nolan showed up and he absorbed Jimmy. And Jimmy doesn't exist anymore.
Completely.
Like
And now
Majin
there's
Buu
Nolan.
absorbed it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
like
sure.
that.
He's Majin Buu. Nolan
sure
is
how I
Majin
like
Buu.
that.
It's canon.
Sure.
So with him here, we're gonna go ahead and play 20 questions. So if you're new to the show, we picked the. Actually, I feel like I went through this already, but I'm going to do it again. How we pick the game is we go on a rotation. It's Nolan's week. He knows what the game is. The rest of us don't, and we're going to play 20 questions to try and figure it out. LJ, you don't get to play with us very often, so why don't you start?
Not audibly, but
Not audibly.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll start off with a weird question.
Is it Sonic 06?
Good job. This is what we're playing.
I will leave.
Hey, it's within 10 years. Sonic.
Shut up.
Wow.
I toyed with the idea is the funny part. Just because that way we'd all have to play it in some aspect.
No, I will burn it and send you a video and
Okay.
Release Gerard.
yes.
So no, it's not Sonic 06.
Okay. Dang it. That was question 0, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a real question.
Yeah.
It wasn't question 06, don't worry.
Right. All right, LJ. Serious question.
Okay. So in the spirit of that question, I'm going to throw a weird one out there. Does this have anthropomorphic animals? If I said that right.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
So it's not Jack and Daxter.
No, it is not.
That's right.
Well,
Jack 3.
No one has finished 2.
No, I haven't. I haven't finished
before
1.
We start 3.
I want to finish 2. I need to go do that.
Because there's a lot of things that don't make sense if you start 3 and then but haven't finished 2.
That eliminated
Okay.
a lot of games, that question.
That's true.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. Did this game come out before January 1st, 2000?
Yes.
Okay.
So, did it release after January 1st, 1990?
No.
Oh. Alright. So
So this is an 80s game. Okay.
No, that's not true. It could be before that.
Or it could be before that. Yeah, I heard your Pong conversation.
Yeah, that's true. Could be.
So is this a NES game?
Yes.
You know
Okay.
why I said that? Because you gave it away earlier.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Oh, yeah, I did. That's right. Yes, I did. I'm like, did I? Yes, I did.
Okay, so it's an NES game.
I don't know what
Is
you're
this-
talking about.
Yeah, I don't either. Is this a is it developed by Nintendo?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh gosh. Is this a Mario game? No.
No.
No. Okay. Turning to the Google machine.
Is this a platformer?
No.
Shoot, I forgot. Did you say it was developed by Nintendo?
It is developed by
It is
Nintendo.
developed by Nintendo. Oh, that's right, because Joel asked if it was a Mario game.
Yep.
Not a platformer.
It's on the NES. It's not a platformer. It's not a Mario game. Oh my word! We already did Punch Out.
Yeah, I did Punch Out. I was like,
Yeah, yes, you did.
second game.
Okay, it's not a platformer.
Is it? Gosh, Nintendo games that were, and it's not a platformer, so it's not Donkey Kong. It's not Super Mario Brothers. It's not. We've done the NES Zelda, haven't we?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We haven't done.
We haven't done Zelda 2, but that's a platformer.
Yeah.
And I know
That's-
no one likes Zelda 2, even though most people don't.
Right. Is this a shoot? Is it a Metroid game?
No.
That's
Okay. That was very specific.
well, it couldn't have been because that's a platformer.
Yep.
Oh, also true. Yeah.
Is this? Do you shoot things?
I mean, it's possible.
What?
I'm gonna say no.
Oh man.
That's not the main aspect.
Okay, is this...
But you can,
Okay.
sort of. Let's just go with no, just to make it easy.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
So, is this game 2 players?
No. How many questions have been? I forgot to start keeping track.
I don't know either. But
I
if
feel like that's like 8.
since we've been going in order, LJ would have been question
Like 9.
8 yeah, or 10.
Okay. We'll call it 9 then.
Yeah, let's call it 9.
Okay.
Is this? Oh, do you ride a vehicle in this?
Nope.
Okay, it's not Excite Bike.
Yeah, is this a
Ooh,
puzzle
that would have
game?
been good. Puzzle game? No.
What the heck?
Is this from an isometric or top-down camera angle?
It can be top down, yes.
It can be top down.
Oh!
Oh, well,
I might know what this is.
but you said it wasn't a platformer, and we've.
Well, actually,
Okay.
then I don't.
Is Zelda 2 a platformer? I mean, really?
I would consider
No.
it a platformer.
I mean,
So
you can jump, but I wouldn't call it a
Nolan
platformer.
says it's not a platformer. So is it a Zelda game?
Yes.
It's Zelda 2, but I would consider that a platformer.
No.
Yes,
you can jump, but it's not a platformer.
side scroll on platforms and jump from platform to platform.
I mean, but I get where he's coming from.
Yeah, I understand.
So
I will give you. There's platforming, but it's not. I wouldn't call it a platformer.
yeah,
I'd call it an RPG, and it's the only time I would call a Zelda game an RPG.
yeah.
But
Makes sense.
Well, there you go. We're playing The Legend of Zelda.
That was super
Zelda
Yeah.
2.
Zelda 2 is an action role-playing video game with platforming elements. It says right there on the Wikipedia
Elements,
page.
not a platformer.
It's
Elements.
You know what I almost said when you said you can go in a top-down view? I almost was thinking Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
Because my next question would have
that's
been...
also a platformer.
Yes.
Well, that'd be anthropomorphic animals though too.
Oh,
that
you're
would be
right,
anthropomorphic
you're
animals,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And you know what? I mean, some of the creatures in Zelda can be considered anthropomorphic animals.
Which that's why I was like, I don't know, like.
And you can shoot things, or you have sword beams.
Yeah, that's why I said you can, but it's not the main thing.
Yeah.
So let's just say no.
all right. It's Zelda 2. So
I'm more excited.
I don't know.
Yay,
that
it's
It
Zelda
could be
2.
worse. I could have done a CDI game.
No, you couldn't have. Nobody has a CDI.
Yeah.
It's okay. We just watch.
The only way that we'd have been
I'm sure
able
there's
to
a
play
ROM.
it is if we watched it. So
Watch the Game Grumps play through Wand of Gamelon.
Oh, wow. Another idea I had was...
Dongos.
I know you were a Star Tropics fan, so I thought it was going to be Star Tropics.
I almost did, but then I was like,
I would actually play Star Tropics.
See, like, I think originally I was going to do Star Tropics, and I'm like, I couldn't remember what the game was. Because I had something planned, I'm like, wait, what was that? I'm like, okay. Zelda 2, let's do Zelda 2.
Yeah.
So,
Zelda
but
2 is the only game that I don't own in the main series.
Mhm.
I don't have most of
Yeah.
the handheld games, but it's the only one I don't have that was on a home console.
Okay.
well,
I have the gold cart.
Yay! The gray card is rarer.
Yeah, but it's not shiny and gold.
Yeah.
Shots,
You know-
shots fired.
Whatever.
All right, Nolan. Since I assume you have the Wikipedia page pulled up, what is this available on for us to play?
This is on the Famicom Disk System, the Nintendo Entertainment System, the GameCube, and the Game Boy Advance. Because the GameCube was on that the Zelda collector's thing. This was one of the games. And then on Game Boy Advance, when they did the NES Classic games on the Game Boy Advance, which I also have that. So,
I used to have the collector's edition, and I gave it to my nephew.
It's on 3DS too, right? I think. Did you say that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Actually, yes, because the first time I ever beat this was on 3DS Virtual Console.
Cool.
It never puts like Virtual Console in the like platforms that it's on.
I know. I know it is because it's sitting on my 3DS right now.
Re-releases.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna play it.
Yeah. So that'd probably be the easiest way to find it. It's also probably the cheapest, to be honest. Because, but yeah. Star Tropics. See, it's like for like 2-3 weeks now. I'm like, let's do Star Tropics, and I forget about what game I wanted to do, so I pick something else at the last second. I'm like, no. That's okay.
It was released. Oh, okay. You know what? We'll save that for the actual episode. So January. Yeah, it is on the Wii Virtual Console, so therefore it's also on Wii U and 3DS. Yeah. Just confirming. I was about to say something that's trivia, and we'll save that for the episode. All right, cool.
Sweet.
How do we do this?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Thanks for listening to 20 questions. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming
podcast.
Yay! I'm back.
Yay!
Oh, you left?
Did you drop out for a second?
Yeah, my computer.
Just
I'm sitting there listening, and all of a sudden my computer just goes.
I thought you
gone, and I'm like, what the heck?
I had no idea you dropped out. I'm sorry.
We were like,
because I didn't hear a noise.
Yeah, nothing.
Usually I get alerted. I'm
I
like,
he was just so shocked that we were playing Zelda 2 that.
So did I.
Yeah,
that's like what I was thinking.
Just like later, man.
Oop.
Oh, there you go.
Uh-oh.
Wait,
Like
what?
that.
Yeah, like that.
That is gonna do it for now. So let's do them plugs. Nolan, who's not here, you can find him on Twitter at baseman214 and on Twitch at twitch.tv/IcyWhiteFalcon. Jimmy, where can we find you on the internet?
Nowhere at the moment. I'm boring.
It's true. If you listen to Join the Rivalry, he's just a snooze. I sleep through half the episode. That's not true at all. Joel, where can we find you?
Anywhere you can find me on the internet, you will find me under Obi-Watt Kenobi. It would be Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and the like. Just search for Obi-Watt Kenobi, and you will find me.
Indeed. You can find me on Twitter at Patrick Proper and at Salty Luchadork. You can also find me as a co-host, along with Jimmy, on Join the Rivalry podcast. That's jointherivalry.podbean.com. You can yes, he is quite a bit less boring there, especially this. Not the latest episode I'm talking about, but the previous to that episode I missed, and we had another special guest on, Nathan, and you guys talked quite a bit about anime. I found it very interesting. So. Anyway, so that's you can find all of us under the umbrella of CrossForge Gaming, which you can find that at crossforgegaming.com, and from there links to the CrossForge Gaming YouTube channel. Oh, I almost forgot. We're giving away games, and I'm supposed to give one, or at least give the rules for giving one away on this podcast. So, one of the guys with CrossForge Gaming, Darman, bought the Star Wars Humble Bundle, and he already has a bunch of those games, so we're giving away Star Wars games.
Exactly why I didn't buy the Humble Bundle, because I already have a bunch of those games.
And actually, I also went and bought it. I have a bunch of those games. I'm going to give them away. I also got the Humble Freedom Bundle, which has things like Stardew Valley and World of Goo and The Witness and stuff in it like that. I am keeping some of those games because I don't have them, but there are some I'm giving away. I just have to go through and figure out which ones I'm going to give away. So what I'm going to do for this podcast is if you this only works on the YouTube version of the podcast because Podbean doesn't have a comment section. So we'll make sure we link to that in the podcast so you can get to it. But go to the YouTube version of this podcast. Share this podcast, the YouTube version, with your friends. Comment in the comment section. Actually, let's make this a little more interesting. Comment your favorite thing about Mario Kart 64 in the comment section on YouTube. And make sure you follow us. And if you do all that, I will give you the list of games that I have that I'm giving away and let you pick one. They will be PC games. Most of them have Steam keys. I think 1 or 2 of them are just DRM free. You'll be able to get it that way. And you do all that, and we'll pick a winner before let's see. Oh, did we lose somebody?
We might have lost Jimmy.
Okay, he did say he was in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, we'll pick a winner and we'll let you know, and I'll let you pick one of those games. But you have to comment what you like about your favorite thing about Mario Kart 64 or a story or something like that. Doesn't really matter. Just entertain me, and share all of this, and we will pick at random a winner. And you'll get to pick one of the games that I got that I don't want anymore. So, you're getting my trash. Congratulations.
That sounds amazing.
I know. You can also find Original Gamers Podcast on Twitter at officialogcast and on Instagram at official.ogcast. All right. We lost Jimmy. He did say he was in the middle of nowhere. He does these podcast plays on the road. So check him out on Join the Rivalry. Anyway, that's going to do it. What music did we hear at the beginning? And we already said that. What music are we going to hear?
Kind of already said that too. But I'll reiterate.
Refresh us.
At the beginning, you would have heard the Luigi / Mario / Royal Raceway / Wario Stadium music. I picked it because it is the most used song, and so it's the one you think of when you think of playing Mario Kart 64. It's very iconic. Everybody loves it. Everybody knows it. Come on, Pogo Gods. Sorry. Yes. I don't know. I love Homestar. My mind just went there. Wow, that was super random. Totally lost track. So the end music you're hearing is the end credits to Super Mario 64. When you beat the final track in 150 or special, Rainbow Road. So when you beat Rainbow Road in 150 or special Grand Prix, you get this credit sequence, and there's this music that plays over for about 4 minutes. And it's pretty awesome. You're only going to hear about 30 seconds of it, but it's my favorite track in the whole game. So,
absolutely.
Enjoy.
You mentioned special mode. I can't believe we didn't talk about mirror mode the whole time we were doing this. Oh well. All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time with whatever game we're playing. Have a good one, everybody.
Be good, humans.